Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. In this video, we'll be talking about the Great Pacific Garbage Patch. Please remember to like and subscribe. Alright, let's get right into it. Fact 1. Not a single patch. The name Great Pacific Garbage Patch makes people think that it is a giant patch of garbage all clumped together, something like you see in this video. Because when we think about garbage and accumulated garbage, we think of this, landfills and places where garbage is piled up and looking really messy and so forth. This is because what we see on land is generally an accumulation of garbage in one single place. But the Great Pacific Garbage Patch is not like this. The first problem is that the Great Pacific Garbage Patch is over a huge area. We're talking about sizes of countries. And so when you are even flying directly above the garbage patch, you actually won't see too much garbage. You'll see pristine blue water most of the time. However, if you look closely, then you'll see individual garbage pieces floating by. And so they're more spread out than you think. But because it's such a large area, from a first glance, you wouldn't think there's any garbage when you're really on top of it. Alright, let's get into the next fact. Fact 2. Mostly plastics. The Great Pacific Garbage Patch is composed mostly of plastics, up to 80 or 90% of it. And the reason is very simple. Plastic is the only durable sort of material that can survive being at sea, in the middle of the ocean, being really heated by the sun and floating on the surface. The plastic does degrade a little bit into microplastic, but overall they survive. Whereas compostable materials such as paper or wood or other kind of biomaterial, they decompose and eventually gets absorbed into the ocean. Plastics is really the only type of material that can sustain its material and shape for a long time swimming in the Pacific Ocean. This is the reason why plastics and microplastics have made such big news lately. The Great Pacific Garbage Patch is swirling around constantly, and all this plastic that's dumped into the ocean is swirling around the plastic and will never be decomposed or removed by any natural forces. It takes human effort to actually clean up the plastic that's floating around in the Great Pacific Garbage Patch. There is no natural way to get rid of all the plastic that's swirling around. This is why the garbage patch still survives today. Alright, let's get into the next fact. Fact 3. Ghost nets. As I mentioned in the previous section, plastics makes up the majority of the Pacific Garbage Patch, but it's not the only type. The remainder 10 to 20% of the garbage is ghost nets. What are ghost nets? Ghost nets are basically fishing vessels whose net has been somewhat destroyed, or maybe they lost it by accident, and the net simply floats on top of the water, adrift forever. And because the net is made of materials that are not biodegradable and will not degrade under the sun or in the ocean, they survive. They survive and continuously float and congregate in those areas that they were dropped in. They also continue to swirl by the currents, and while doing so, because nets are designed to catch sea animals, they do catch fish and turtles and so forth unexpectedly, and as a result kills the sea animals. Ghost nets is also a huge problem of garbage patch, and it is not able to be removed naturally. Alright, let's get into the next fact. Fact 4. 20% marine waste. As I mentioned in the previous section, 10 to 20% of the garbage patch is ghost nets. Ghost nets is part of the broader marine waste category. Marine waste could be anything, but essentially are materials and components that are left over from shipping vessels or fishing vessels. You can imagine, for example, if a propeller breaks on a fishing vessel, that propeller will probably not be retrieved. Same thing with nets or fishing gear, buoys, and so forth. All these items, if they're made of plastics or other type of poly material that is not gonna decompose or biodegrade, they'll become part of the Great Pacific Garbage Patch and continue swirling around the currents, damaging sea life and endangering sea animals. Marine waste is an important part of the garbage patch and something that cannot be avoided, because as you drive your boats out there, or fishing vessels, containers, oil tankers, and so forth, they were bound to produce waste. So it is going to happen eventually. Alright, let's get to the next and final fact. No country wants to clean up. Governments around the world acknowledge there is the Great Pacific Garbage Patch. They also all acknowledge that it's damaging to sea life and should be cleaned up. However, because it is swirling in the international waters, and not one single country needs to bear the responsibility of cleaning the Great Pacific Garbage Patch, nobody wants to. And as a result, the garbage patch continues to swirl in the ocean without any plan to clean them up. There are some nonprofits thinking of ingenious ideas to clean them up and have deployed several tests and experiments to do so. But unfortunately, it is way too costly for any single nation's government to conduct a cleanup. And frankly, nobody probably wants to do that, because if they volunteer to clean up, everyone would think that they're the one that caused the Great Pacific Garbage Patch. But it is not true. Every country around the world created the Great Pacific Garbage Patch. And so it should be a united effort from all countries and not just a single one. Unfortunately, the UN and everything else are not going to clean it up. Alright, that's it for my video today. Thank you so much for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe. See you next time.